Hi everyone, welcome back to our class. Students, you have learned about what are force and how many types of forces and definition of force in earlier session. Now in this session we are going to be learn about net force. So what is net force and how do we calculate the net force when the force is applied on particular object? Yes, let me see in this session about those net force. So what is net force? So how can we calculate this net force? Let me see here in this session. So students, suppose you are applying the force on the table. Yes, if you apply the force on the table, then if you push the table, if you want to push the table, then it is hard to push the table only with you. Yes, and if you take the help of your friend and you both push the table, then it is easier to push the table. Here what happened in the first condition, only you applied the force on the table. In second condition, your friend and you applied the force on the table. Means the work is easy when one more force is one more person is added with you. Yes, means more force, then work is easier to you here. So here first condition is you applied the force, in second condition is both your friend and you applied the force, and ask your friend to apply the force opposite direction of you. Yes, so this is third condition. Now in this condition what do you observe? Is the table move further direction or any other direction? No. If you apply the same force, your friend and you apply the same force, then the table will not move anywhere. Yes, because you are both applying same force. Then when you apply the same force, table will not move anywhere. Yes, here then how can we combinedly calculate these forces which are applied by you and your friend? Then how can we say the net force applied on the table? Then you applied the force and your friend also applied the force on the table. Then how can you say how much force is applied by you and your friend? Total how much force is applied on the table? Yes, for this situation means to know about this we have to speak about net force. Means when we combine the force, when we speak about two or more forces if applied on one object, then we have to discuss about net force. Means we have to tell there how much net force is acted on that particular object when two or more forces acted there. Yes, so here we are going to be discuss net force. Then here if your friend applied the larger force than you, then in which direction the table will move? Yes, in your direction. Means your friend is applying more force than you, then friend will applying more force, then table will move in your direction. You are applying less force there. Yes, so we can observe these things in our day-to-day life. So how can we say that? So your friend applied force is F1, and whatever you applied the force, that is you can take as a F2. Yes, then how can we say the net force? Yes, net force is equal to F1 plus F2. Yes, but when it is F1 plus F2 means when you apply the force both members in one direction. Second condition, what we have observed there in the second condition? Yes, in the second condition you and your friend applying the force on the table in one direction. In the same direction you are applying the force. In this condition net force is equal to F1 plus F2. Means your force your friend applied force is taking as F1 and your applied force is taking as F2. Then net force is equal to F1 plus F2. So next what about the third condition? when your friend and you applied the force opposite direction, then what is the net force in this condition? Yes, then in this condition net force is taking as negative, means nothing but if your friend is applied more force than you, then we can take as F1 plus minus F2, because your forces are opposite to each other. So then we can take as F1 plus minus F2. Then final net force is F1 minus F2. So like this we can take the differentiate when the forces are opposite direction, and we can take as sum of the forces when the forces applied on one direction. Yes, in the same direction forces applied means we can say we can take as addition, and when the forces acted opposite to each other, then we can take as negative, means we can take the negative forces in between whatever the applied there. Yes, so here let me take one example. Here I have rubber band. Yes, one rubber band. Just I am stretching this rubber band with my finger. Then this rubber band shows the force on both fingers. Yes, I can stretch like this. And if I take two rubber bands, then I make it to stretch it. It is somewhat difficult. Means these two rubber bands applying the force on my fingers. So it is a more force. What is the net force? Yes, force is applied by the one rubber band is F1, and force is applied by the another rubber band is F2. F1 and F2 means this rubber band force is F1, whatever applied on my finger, and this rubber band force is F2, whatever applied on my finger. So F1 plus F2 is calculated as net force which is act on my fingers. Yes, what is the net force? So F1 plus F2 is called net force. So students, I hope you understand this session about net force and how do we calculate the net force. So net force is nothing but combination of all forces, but we have to take sign. Is it negative or means nothing but it is addition or subtraction. When we have to take the subtraction of the forces, nothing but difference of the forces, means when the forces acted opposite direction, then we should take as negative, and when the forces acted in one direction, in the same direction, then we take as nothing but addition, means we should add the forces. So like that we can calculate the net force. And what are the units of force? Yes, we can say units of SI unit of force is Newton. What is that? Newton. Means how do you say the distance and what is that velocity something. So those in distance and what is the how much length. So length, distance you can express in meters or kilometers. Yes, in the same way we can express the force in newtons. So I have applied the 3 Newton force, I have applied the 3 Newton force, I have applied the 2 Newton force. How much force you applied, how much Newton of force you applied. So we can express the force in newtons. So newtons are the SI units of force. So students, I hope you understand this session about net force and how do we calculate the net force in different condition, when it is opposite to each other and when it is one direction, and next what are the units of force. So hope you understand and read this concept from the textbook and try to understand the concepts. So thank you for listening this class.